Welcome to the Art Project. We're going to hone our skills with shading. We are going to work on value and shading, and we're going to use a soda can to do it as our subject matter. So first I got a Monster Energy drink and crushed it. Not that much, just about there. Yes. Don't crinkle it too much, and don't leave it perfectly straight. Take a picture of it, print it out, or use the image on your phone. I recommend turning it into a black and white photo. Get a piece of drawing paper and begin. I did the layout with a mechanical pencil, but you can use any regular pencil that you want to. I would test the pencil first to make sure you can get your nice darks. Some graphite pencils don't get very dark. And then I used the shape building method to some extent. I put a mark at the top, close to the top of the paper where I wanted it to be, and close to the bottom of the paper where I wanted it to be, and then proceeded to size it up to those marks. A little bit at a time, a little bit of lines, lining everything up whenever possible, looking to see how my angles were and so on, just like we learned towards the beginning of the semester. Then I began shading. At first I was using this mechanical pencil, and then I remembered that the lead in this mechanical pencil is a little bit harder than normal lead, which means it doesn't draw quite as dark. So I ditched it and got a nice Ticonderoga pencil, which gets a pretty dark. This is about when I realized that it didn't get dark enough. So here's a Ticonderoga pencil. The eraser that I'm using is just a dollar store eraser. Nothing fancy, although I do have a electric eraser and I will be using it every now and then. But you don't have to. You can do all kinds of things. Artists used regular erasers. They went without electric erasers for thousands of years. So you can do it too. Then I started shading in. Now, I started shading in fairly lightly. Some of these might look a little bit dark or look a little medium gray, but this is overall fairly light because I just kind of want to get started with it. I don't want to commit to anything just yet. I'm just trying to look at the different values and shade them in where I see them the way that I see them. And it is a little bit difficult at first, especially for beginners, to overlook all of the writing and imagery that is on the can. Essentially, this can is as dark as it is because of the paint that's on it, because it's brown. It hasn't been painted white. But shading is sort of the same no matter what, with the exception that the darker the color, the darker your shading is going to be, of course. So just kind of given all of that, you got to look at it and look for the darks and look for the lights, look for the grays, and just add a little bit here and there as you go. Don't miss the shadows for things like the pop cap that's right there. Don't miss the shadows that the can itself casts on itself. And probably most importantly at this point is try not to shade over anything that is a highlight. Maybe one of the first things that you want to do when you start to shade is look at where the highlights are and don't shade on top of them. I did shade over the highlight on the far left corner of the can there, but with my electric eraser I was able to fix it. If you'll just leave it blank and be careful not to shade over any of the highlights at first, you'll be good. It's really sort of an experiment in determining what is darker than anything else, or what is darker than the other area. You're constantly moving your eye back and forth across the can and looking to see, what is darker. Is it darker on the left and fade to the right? Is it darker underneath here? Or where's the highlight at and why is the highlight there, and so on. Another thing you might find is lots of reasons to whine and complain and to procrastinate. For example, I myself have carpal tunnel syndrome, I think, and my hand gets numb after about 5 or 10 minutes of shading. But I persevered. I'd like to encourage you to persevere. Sometimes I would make a mark and it would end up looking darker than I thought it should. Persevere, or just erase it and try again. Don't forget the background. There is nothing out here. Look at the little picture, the little thumbnail there. There is nothing brighter than that highlight at the bottom of that can. That highlight is the brightest place on the whole can and the whole picture, brighter than the white paper even. It is sunlight, not sunlight. It's the light from my lamp shining directly onto it and back into my eye. Pure light. So that's going to be the whitest part. The background is a little bit darker, even though it's white paper. The table is a little bit darker, even though it's a light colored table. So we're going to keep adding, and as I was adding the shadows, I realized that my can wasn't quite dark enough. So I would have to come back and tweak some areas. In fact, that area in the center of the can doesn't look very dark right now, and it partly doesn't look very dark right now because my lamp kind of washes it out. But I went back and continued to darken that spot over and over and over again, making it almost as black, if not as black, as the hole in the top of the can. Or at least that was my what I tried to do. So just persevere. Another thing you'll notice is that my can doesn't look exactly like the other can. That's because I'm human and prone to error. And I didn't worry about it. I just kept on going. Here I am tweaking the darks inside the can even more. There you go, making that side a little bit darker. I wanted it to stand out from the background. You notice that white corner or whitish corner of the paper in the background is a lot lighter than the can. And so I wanted the can to kind of stand out like that. So constantly reworking and re-shading everything. Well, that's pretty much it. If you want to really impress the teacher, do 2 cans in your still life. Use a Coke can, use a Monster can, whatever kind of drink you like. Just do the assignment and do the best you can. And if you mess up, do it twice. That won't hurt anything. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you do this, please post it on Instagram or Facebook somewhere and tag me in it. Comment down below. And subscribe if you haven't already. And share this video either on your own personal website or on your favorite social media, wherever you want to. And so in the meantime, go make some art.